Hi, welcome to Think Tech. We are raising public awareness about technology, energy, globalism, and diversity. This show is Center Stage. I am your host, Donna Blanchard. We're coming to you live from Pioneer Plaza in the heart of downtown Honolulu, which is very near Kumakoa Theater, where I'm the managing director. I'm very excited about
hear her.
Sorry?
It's tough for me to hear you. I'm so sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Today I'm very excited that we have our guest is Kiran Gandhi. She's joining us via Skype, and I'm just communicating with her. She's having a little trouble hearing me, so I hope that we're going to be able to work out our technology issues, okay? We're going to be all right. So welcome, Kiran.
Hi, how are you? I've been looking forward to this all week. This is awesome. I'm joining you from LA. We're actually tracking some drums over here in Echo Park.
Oh, that's awesome. You have a beautiful backdrop, and thank you so much for taking your time out of your busy day to join us. You came on my radar after the marathon, the London Marathon. I read a story about you in, I believe it was the New York Times, and I said, I have to know more about this woman. And for anyone who doesn't know the story about the famous woman who got her period the morning of the marathon, and you chose to go ahead and run as you always have, without any sort of feminine protection, because you hadn't trained with it, right? So it didn't make sense, and you're a badass marathon runner, so you did it and you finished the marathon, and women all over the world, I hope, jumped for joy knowing that you did not let that stop you. And that like forced me to, I think I tweeted something about you, and you recognized that, and I knew I had to talk with you. And then I found out you were an artist, so wow, I could not only stalk you, but I could stalk you and then have you on my show. So that has really, I mean, you were already a drummer, you'd already worked with M.I.A, but that marathon has really sort of catapulted your public notoriety, yeah?
Yes, I think that's true. I couldn't have never expected the response that happened after I wrote the piece about the experience I had running Bleeding Freely. I think for me, feminism has been something that I have been passionate about since I was young, without even knowing what it was. And I did that act kind of like a punk rock kind of thing. I just thought it would be punk rock to run bleeding. And you said that that's something that I've always done, but that's not true. That was the first time I've ever done anything like that, in the sense that I always use like tampons and pads. That stuff is fine. But on a marathon course, you're doing something very extreme on the body, and you're running for 5 hours, and the actual legs running, just, it didn't seem smart to have a foreign object. And my own thoughts about it were, wow, I'm literally like first world, young woman, access to information, yet even I don't really know what's like my best option right now. And that's kind of why I did it. I was like, that is oppressive that we can't talk about our own bodies. And if we can't talk about our own bodies, then what actually happens is we don't have access to the right education about what's the best option for us. And I think, you know, I always think about Gloria Steinem. In the 70s, she wrote an awesome essay called If Men Could Menstruate. And in this essay, she writes, if men could menstruate, they would tell women that they're not as good as math as they are, because they don't have an internal body clock telling them about the time, you know? Just, I mean, I was thinking how smart, like, it's so true, and how amazing that we have this thing. But it's used against us, you know, it's gross, it's not sexy, it's ugly, and for this reason, we're not allowed to talk about it because we have to look beautiful all the time. So this is why I ran like that. And I think the art and the feminism and the pop culture is connected in that, in a way, it's performative. Like, I knew at the end of 4 hours, it's all over. Just the same way a show is, or a theater or a song. And that was sort of the influence, seeing a lot of women using pop culture performance art as a safe space to express radical feminism. That's what I did with the marathon.
Man, you did. And I mean, it opened my eyes. I'm 51 years old, and I operate around a bunch of mature people, but when I started talking about having you on my show, who is she, how I found it, as soon as I would tell the story about the marathon, people get grossed out. And there is so much shame around that, and it's, you opened my eyes to the fact that it's ludicrous that we don't talk about this more openly. It's crazy, and it is oppressive. Yeah.
Yes. I think it's good. I think it's good that so many people of many different generations wrote that they thought it was gross. I think that's a good thing, because then that's actually what made it viral. And many women thought, oh, like, I didn't think this was newsworthy or that big of a deal. But now that I see all the comments online about how people think it's gross, well, now I'm going to respond, because it's not gross. And actually, it's something really tough that we have to deal with every month that shouldn't be that difficult. So this is why this act, I think, kind of worked. And we see a lot of now responses. Cosmo just put out an awesome article for women about how they can take themselves when they're bleeding each month, ways to experience less pain, different options beyond just tampons and pads, which do use toxic chemicals, so there should be other options. I mean, Cosmo has never talked about women's own bodies. They talk about how to please their man, not about how to feel okay on your period. That's radical. That's effective. I would like to add one more thing, which is that yesterday I was speaking at UCLA, and I had about 40 young, bright students in the classroom with me, both men and women. And at the end of it, I shared with them one thing that I've been thinking about, which is the many levers that you can pull when you want to make a difference in the world. And you have to think about your own sphere of influence. You know, what can I change? Because a lot of times we say, oh, I should write because that's what Gloria Steinem did, or I should play the drums because that's what Kiran did, or I should run for president because that's what Hillary did. You don't have to do anything that anybody else has done. You just need to be the best version of yourself. And I was telling them some of the levers that I think you can pull are, the first one is media. So just like writing or performing or speaking, you know, forms of ethereal media. The second one is legal action and political action, being on the Hill, rewriting the law. The third one is innovation. Oh, there's a problem. Women are not that comfortable when they're on their periods. How can we innovate around that problem and actually make money off of it? I think that's a wonderful thing. People pay for luxury, for comfort. And then I was thinking about the fourth one, which is radicalism. Being radical, making a statement, doing something absurd. That's a lot of where performance art can live, or where a lot of radical feminism has lived. And you use shock culture to make people question norms, so that then they maybe pull those other levers that I mentioned. So everything works in concert. There's not one without the other. And I didn't really think of things that way until I analyzed in retrospect this whole event around the marathon.
Yeah, it was disruptive. It was radical. How do you define radical feminism?
Well, it's the thing that people are most afraid of, because it often means in people's mind man-hating. It means military takeover of women over others. But someone said something to me very profound recently, which was that, and her name is Kimberly Thompson. She's a drummer. She's a legendary jazz drummer. She said to me, you know, the irony is that when you give women power, they actually use that power to take even more care of the group that they're leading. And I never thought of that. I was like, dang, that's so true. It's so true. And I think a lot of us think they imagine women becoming men, becoming male. This is not the intention of feminism. In my opinion, the intention is about celebrating what is biologically female, because often what is biologically female is considered weak, it's considered secondary, it's considered less desirable. So to me, radical feminism is about celebrating what is inherently female. At least for me, that's what I stand for.
Yeah. And I think that that's awesome. And I think that little by little through our generations, we are actually getting to a point where we are really able to hear and feel our own female voice without it being shaped in any way by what we grew up with. You know, because the world I grew up in, taught me shame that I didn't realize I had until a couple of weeks ago. You know what I'm saying? So you go, girl. You keep doing what you're doing. So you had that talk last night. Tell us what is on your horizon. Right now you're in a drum session.
Yes, my dream right now is to work on music. I've never been able to do my own music, but what you were talking about just now, about you and your voice and finding a voice, this is everything. Having a voice is everything, and I never knew that. As a drummer, I used to sit at the end, at the back of the stage, behind the kit. we have a voice in that we're playing a beat, but we don't have a voice in that I can't express what's in my brain. I can't as a drummer. And to express what you think and what you feel and what matters to you and what you're passionate about, you have to be courageous enough to get on the mic, to sing, to speak, whatever. And that's where I'm at right now. And I'm trying to find my own voice, whether that means being in the studio, whether that means speaking on the mic, whether that means Skyping with Hawaii. You know, I'm trying to find my voice so that I can share ideas that matter to me and that resonate and inspire other young women to be authentically themselves, but also be fearless, to do exactly what they want, to not be so worried about looking beautiful all the time, because they are already beautiful. You know what I mean? Like, we don't need makeup and stuff. Like, what is feminine is biologically already beautiful and attractive. Like, we don't need all that other stuff. It takes time away from the real stuff. So I'm trying to find my voice, and I'm trying to inspire other women to find theirs too.
And how do you go about doing that? Do you have any?
Like I said, it's speaking and performing. It's the two things that I know how to do. I think for me, what I want is to make music, to use what inspired me when I worked with M.I.A, which was she would make really amazing music, and the politics were almost secondary, so that if you wanted to tune into the politics, you could, but if you didn't want to listen, you could just dance. I think that's very smart, and that's something that music can do more than any other medium. I think what I'm trying to do is make an album, play music, and then use that as a means to be able to speak about what I believe and what I want for the world.
Beautiful. Did you see the Dove commercial that had the two doors? What was the one door said beautiful, and the other one didn't, or said average or something? God, that made me just want to cry watching that.
And we're honestly on this verge. Like, everyone, people are like, oh, feminism is over. I mean, there's always work to do, man. We're in the fourth wave. Like, there's always work to do. We are still telling women to look beautiful, and that's their main role.
Yeah.
When you tell someone to look beautiful, well, that takes hours out of the day. Do you know that Steve Jobs and people like Mark Zuckerberg purposely wear almost identically the same outfit every day, so that there's one less decision in their brain that can then be used for another more intelligent decision that pushes their technological innovation forward? Can you imagine how crippled women are then to have to make decisions every single day about our hair, about our breasts, about our makeup, about our clothing, about our looks, about our shoes, about our insecurities? The list goes on and on. It's truly, truly oppressive, and we don't even think about that.
We don't.
Women must be beautiful, and we are already beautiful inherently.
Yeah. I'm all for uniforms. Yeah. Can we go back, because I know I have you for a limited amount of time, so I want to pull all the information out of you I possibly can. Can you talk a little bit about when feminism first became on your radar as a young girl, child, woman?
I was 4, and the Power Rangers were the coolest thing at the time. I wanted to be a Power Ranger. My 2 best friends were twins, John and Nicholas, twin boys. And we said, okay, tomorrow's Halloween, let's be the Power Rangers. Okay, cool. See you on the roof for the roof party. We all lived in the same building. It was New York City. We had a roof.
Oh no, I lost you. Hang in there. If you're there, Kiran. Hold on, I just can't hear you, and you're frozen right now.
Okay, what about now?
Okay, gotcha. Okay, keep going.
Cool.
On the roof.
So I arrived at the roof dressed as the Red Ranger. And as the Red Ranger, I liked him because he controlled all the technology. I thought he was the coolest. I just connected with him the most, regardless of gender. But John and Nicholas were very angry that I chose the Red Ranger and not the Pink Ranger. They said, what are you doing? You're in the wrong outfit. And that was when I understood, okay, this boy and girl roles thing is really here to stay. And when girls do what they want, it seems to make a lot of people very angry.
So you grew up watching television. You must have grown up in a household that helped to engender this individuality somehow, because I know that just outside influences that are perfectly well-meaning help to shape those perceptions that would make most girls go for the pink uniform.
I think my parents are absolutely the reason. Both my mother and father were extremely empowering. They always encouraged all of our passions. my dad especially was very focused on making sure that we were very like able-bodied. He would make us go and buy our own train tickets just for practice, or like to talk to if we had to pay a toll, we were the ones who had to do it, to like get used to kind of having a voice and owning our own confidence. I think that's connected to it. He would beat me in sports, like if we were playing against each other in tennis or something, and I was like 6, and I was like, what, aren't you supposed to fake losing? I think, and my mom was just so outspoken. In our joint household where both of them were working, if the waiter or waitress brought the bill to my father, done. My mom would say, this is the 21st century. I'm working just as hard as my husband. Why are you bringing the check to my husband? So watching that was incredibly empowering. Both of them played a key role in my feminism today.
That's beautiful. And you have a love for math.
I do.
You just finished, did you just finish your master's degree at Harvard?
I did, in May.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
But you chose to study music there. Is that
No.
true? Oh,
I studied business.
You studied business there. Oh, okay. So are either of your parents involved in math? Where did that love come from?
It came from having an awesome female teacher when I was like in 8th, 9th, 10th grade in New York City. They instead of using X and Y as my as the variables, she would use watermelon and banana, and I just remember feeling very empowered by it. I would get straight A's. I understood it. I would work at it. It wasn't even like a female thing. It was just like, yeah, when you have an awesome teacher and an encouraging environment, you can do it. And people always say, oh, I don't have the math gene. I don't think it's a gene. I think you need to have been taught math well from a right age and from a young age, and I think that's hard to find. And I just stayed with it.
Do you think, I grew up with a love of math, but also I remember my grandfather sitting me down and talking to me about the relationship between numbers at probably way early than my parents thought he should have been having that conversation with me, but I have an innate trust in numbers. I have warm, fuzzy feelings for them. So the statistics are that far more men do well in math than women. You think that is not genetically related at all? It's environment?
Of course it's not genetically related. That statement is true for everything, because men are allowed to do whatever they want, but women are told you have to look beautiful and become a wife. Like, of course, if you have half the population crippled and prevented from doing whatever they want, then of course the other half of the population by default will be better at it because there's more of them doing it.
Yeah. I don't know. Growing up, I don't know that I never recognized that girls weren't given the same opportunities in math classes as boys were, but we definitely were told that, you want to be pretty, and we all took home ec classes. So what about music? Are your parents musically involved?
They're not, but I want to add something to that comment that you made.
Sure.
Here's the thing. People love to make that excuse all the time. Like, what are you talking about? Girls and boys are given the same opportunities. Yes, it's in like on paper they are, but we don't live in a vacuum. We live in a world where women subliminally from when they're 3 and marketed to with pink dolls and like oven toys, like baking toys, that your job is to take care of the men and the children in your family, that your job is to look beautiful, your job is to wear deodorant that makes you smell like rain, your job is to have hair that's soft. It's like subliminal. Like, okay, so we go to school and then we watch television at home, and what are the advertisements? Like, clean it up, look beautiful. So that is what we do, because that's how we're accepted into society. It's not fun to not be accepted into society. So as a girl, of course, I'm going to spend more of my time in the evenings making sure I look beautiful the next day than doing my math homework, because that's what I'm rewarded to do by society.
Gotcha. Yes.
One thing that some schools do very well is not allow boys and girls in the same school to date each other. This is actually a very clever thing, because then the girls put less effort into their looks. Of course, it's annoying that it has to be regulated like that, but otherwise, what's more fun as a girl is to feel validated by being beautiful than to feel validated by being an expert at math, because otherwise people assume, oh, it's because you're an outcast, you're not cool. This is the problem.
Yes. And you're using your love of math and your voice and your music to bring this point, to get this point across in as many ways as you possibly can. It looks like you're just non-stop right now.
No, I'm stopping. I think every day is filled with doubt, you know? I feel disorganized. I feel sometimes I don't know exactly how to move forward. I have all these ideas and passions and things that make me happy and that I'm excited about, that I understand well. But in order for me to travel and make music, that means I'm not sitting at my desk and writing. Or in order for me to sit down and write, that means I'm not out meeting people in the way that I should be, or present at an event that I got invited to. I think right now I'm very much accepting this sort of like new identity after the marathon stuff, and I'm trying to own it as much as I can. But I haven't figured out exactly how to be like Superwoman.
There's time. This segues really nicely into atomic living. Can you talk about that just a little bit? And then I know you've got to go. I don't want to keep you too long.
No, Donna, that's super cool. Thanks for letting me talk about atomic living. Atomic living is this theory that I have, this passion that enables everything that I love to sort of work in concert, work together. I always think about how my favorite way to live is not to plan so much, instead to know what matters to me, and then to use spontaneity in my life in a productive way to nurture those things that matter to me. Right now, what matters to me is gender equality, is innovation in the music industry, is actually playing music, creating music, playing the drums, and then of course my friends and family. Those are the most important things to me. So when I go out in my day and I run into someone and they say, hey, like, you're a musician? I have this artist who I'm working with. Like, y'all got to meet each other. Do you have time today at 4? I say, yes, absolutely. I'll make time. Let's do it. When someone hits me up from Hawaii and says, I want to talk to you about feminism, like, do you have time at this moment? Of course. Like, I'll hop out of my studio session. Like, of course. If someone says, though, like, let's go get drunk in a club and, like, you can be VIP and all this stuff, no, that doesn't sound like a productive use of my time right now. Or when I was at a business school and a lot of it was about events and, like, networking, like, no, networking isn't in an ether. That doesn't sound like something that is right for me. I'm focused on my 3-4 passions, and that's it. When my mom says, you have to have breakfast with me before you leave the house today, and I say, ah! I say, okay, yes. You matter most to me, so yes. This is atomic living. You take moment-to-moment opportunities, and you say yes or no based on whether they do or don't have the potential to nurture the few things that matter to you. The reason why I like this is that in 3 or 4 years, if my passions changed, or in 10 years, or in 20 years, when of course they change, you don't feel like you've made any mistakes or done any regrets. You're living in the way that is most authentic to you in that moment.
Sometimes it's a tough decision, though. Have you felt that? Have you run into that?
Yes, but then the theory only gets stronger as I work through those difficult moments.
Okay, I'm with you. I'm tracking. Oh, there you are. You're moving now. You were frozen for a good chunk of the time that you were talking. Zuri, our engineer, ran some lovely pictures of you that she found online, so we're all good. So atomic living, when did you did a TED talk about it. How long ago was that?
It was 2 years ago.
That was 2 years ago. So you developed that theory pretty young.
I developed it when I was living in LA, and I'm back in LA right now, and my whole day I've lived completely atomically. It was so awesome.
That's wonderful. I believe that that's the reason I'm in Hawaii, the reason I landed here working a job with a theater that is everything, because I just said, no, I'm doing it. This is what's important to me, so I'm going to move forward with that. And I had not put a name to it. I'm glad that you gave it a name. Thank you very much. I just consider it the flow, you know.
Yeah, it's that. Flow. It's completely flow. It's when you're in the flow. Everyone has a different name. I just literally saw atoms colliding, like as if we are little humans colliding in the same way that our most fundamental makeup is. That's why I named it that. But, you know, it's being in the flow, of course.
Yeah. You know, maybe sometime soon we can talk with you again. I would love to talk about the mathematics involved with rhythm and how you marry all of those passions in your life, but I know you've got to get going. Thank you so much for being here. Come out to Hawaii sometime, and I promise you I will show you the time of your life here.
Oh my God, I'm coming. I want to go there so badly. It will be awesome.
You're not far right now. You're as close as most people ever get.
I would love it. Maybe we can perform or something. It would be so fun.
Oh, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. You are on.
The future is female.
I will be talking with you very, very soon. Thank you so much, Kiran. Mwah.
Thank you for giving me a voice. I love you, Donna.
I love you. I'll talk to you soon via email.
Talk soon.
Bye. Oh, she's a doll. How wonderful to talk with her. And the next time you see something cool, you don't have to have a show. The next time you see someone who's doing something cool, tweet them, just say, I appreciate what you're doing, and you'd be amazed at the conversations that can come out of something like that. I feel very honored and privileged to have this show, to have the opportunity to talk with people like that and share it with you, but just to have had that conversation with her, that was very cool of her to take her time out of her day. What we're gonna, because she had to go and left us a little short on time, that's cool. You are gonna benefit from that greatly because now you get to watch one of her videos. This is her playing with M.I.A. It's a drum session, and this is gonna, sit down, because this is gonna blow your socks off. Enjoy.